Hello everyone, welcome to another Infinite Magic Raid video. Yeah, this has been a long time coming. This is hard stage 5, which used to be stage 65 before it was changed. So this fight, this boss, extremely annoying. Of all the Elemental City bosses on 65, I believe this is the most difficult one. I could not beat this guy with the characters I have in my roster. I tried for the first 2 weeks, no success. Guys, I'm serious, I've been trying. I have been trying. And there was nobody to help me with Little Jack earlier. But right now, I had to specifically request, thanks to the new chat system in the game, I had to specifically request, somebody please help me out. I need Little Jack E3. And lo and behold, a team member assisted me with Little Jack E3. And this was how I finally made it. So clearing the sub bosses was never an issue. If you have Jean or you have Nita, you can clear these sub bosses. Of course, you need Nodak as well. But the only issue was I didn't know how to beat this boss. Because this boss, if you use basic attacks, you are going to be taking damage. And I'm not talking little damage, I'm talking serious damage from the boss. And if you pursue, like if you use Arista's basic or you use Ben Austin, you are in trouble because both Ben Austin basic and his active skill 2 both have that pursue. So I was really confused. I used Catherine, and Catherine caused a lot of problems for me. I knew that this match I'm not going to win it by just playing the regular way. I had to sit down, think, strategize. Of course, I needed to have a good direct damage dealer. I don't have Ikina. I have Andras, but Andras needs you to have some other born heroes. I do have Anna, but she's just E0. At E0, my Anna could not do anything for me. She's just not strong enough. And also, she needs those exclusives. So E3 Anna could have helped with Andras. So I could not use Andras. I could not use, I used Barry, but with Barry I was getting to 70% of the boss's health, 50% of the boss's health, still no progress. It was, guys, I gave up. I remember the last run, the last run that just ended, the first 2 weeks, after I played 65 for days on end. I believe the last 3 4 days I didn't touch Elemental City anymore because I was like, I just cannot beat this thing. Of course, nobody gave me Little Jack. This time around, I was able to request for Little Jack, and it turns out that Little Jack was the final touch I need. And you may think Little Jack is the one that will just go to, that will do all the damage, but actually no. Little Jack does a lot of the damage, but Jean surprisingly comes through. Jean is important in this match because number one, she's the one that's going to clear the waves. So you're not going to rely on Little Jack for the waves. Jean is going to be the one to clear the waves for you. And you could easily replace Jean with Hez or with Nita or any other strong AoE damage dealer. Those are the three I can recommend. Those are the three I know. Jean, number one. Nita, number two. Hez, number three. So in place of Jean in this match, you could use any of those two characters. So Jean can also do some damage to this boss because this boss only takes, like, it not only takes, but the major damage you are going to use to defeat this boss is skill damage or direct damage. Now, Jean obviously doesn't do direct damage, but she does skill damage on as active skill 1. So you are going to want to focus on her active skill 1 against the boss. To clear the waves, you need active skill 3 and a basic. But against this boss, you need an active skill 1. While for Little Jack, you need his active skill 2. That is his money maker. But he won't start doing damage right at the beginning. He has to stack those candy bombs. And when he gets to about, I believe, 40 stacks or 20 stacks, something like that, then he's going to do huge amount, like taking off about 10% of the boss's health in one hit, which is huge. I can see why Little Jack is one of the most sought after character in this game. Unfortunately, I do not have him. I don't think I would be able to get him within the next 2 years, honestly. So I'm going to have to keep relying on my teammates who have already got him. So yeah, like I said, Andras can do similar damage. Actually, Andras could hit up to 8% of the boss's health at once. It's not as much as Little Jack, but Andras can do the same for you. But with Andras, you need to have a strong Anna alongside him. So yeah, I don't have a strong Anna, so I went with Little Jack. With Jean active skill 1, Little Jack is active skill 2. Now, the way you're going to be fighting this match, you are definitely going to need to use basic attack. Unless you have Maville that will reduce your skill cooldown, you are going to need basic attack. So there are some pointers or some things that you would need to know. For Nordak, make sure you time Nordak's immunity with when you're going to do basic attack. So basically, when you do Nordak's immunity, which is active skill 2, which gives you damage immunity for 2 turns, within those 2 turns, do your basic attacks. Doing your basic attacks means you are now reducing your cooldown for your active skills. And when the immunity is gone, that's when you will get to do the active skills of your characters. So when immunity on, do basic damage. When immunity off, do skill damage. Now, another thing to still note is that the best time to do skill damage is immediately this boss does its own active skill. This boss has a basic attack and an active skill and 1 passive. You can see the active skill on the screen now. The turn right now is, I believe it's on 2 turns at the moment. So when immediately it does its own active skill, that's the boss now. Immediately the boss does its active skill. When it's now showing 3, the number 3 on that active skill, you are going to do your own money makers. Your money makers are Little Jack active skill 2 and Jean active skill 1. Reserve those 2 for that moment, because at that moment is when it's going to take 500% skill damage and 500% direct damage. So that's the best time to use it. That's when you do damage. You've noticed that I timed those 2 specific active skills for that moment. At every other time, you do your basic, and of course, like I said, make sure your basic is timed the same time with Nordak. You can see I didn't lose any character. I didn't need to revive any character. I saw some people using Santa, because E3 Santa can revive your characters. I didn't need to revive my characters. Some people use Esther, and that's also a legitimate strategy to use. With Esther, you can revive your characters when they die, but if you follow this pattern, you won't even have to die. I wish I knew this last time. I missed out on some shards from last time, but I'm glad I know this now. It took a lot of tries, but I was eventually able to get it. So that's basically the strategy. Make sure the immunity is on. Make sure that when the immunity is on, that's when you do your basic attacks, because your basic attacks are the things that are going to be killing you the most. You're going to be taking more damage from your own basic attack. So do that when you have immunity, and when you don't have immunity, do your active skill and do those your special active skills, your money makers. Active skill 2 for Little Jack and active skill 1 for Jean, in Jean's case. I believe for Nita, it will be also active skill 1. For Hezonja, it's also active skill 1. So if you're using either Hez or Nita or Jean, their active skill 1 is what you use against the boss. Yeah, so that was how I defeated the boss. One more thing before I forget, make sure that with Catherine, you don't do an active skill 2, because that will give you counter attack. And with counter attack, you are going to, of course, you are going to have a lot of issues, because you're going to be doing pursue, no counter attack. So don't do Catherine's active skill 2. Use her active skill 1 and use her basic. That's all you need from Catherine. Then for Nidriud, mine was just E0, but if she were E1, this match would have actually been easier for me. But even at just E0, Nidriud can still be useful for you. With Nidriud, you do a Way of Ocean, do active skill 2, then you do our basics. Do our active skill 2, then you do our basic. Our basic is going to reduce the damage from the boss, which will help you to survive. If you enjoy my videos, guys, smash the subscribe button. I wish you guys good luck on this fight, because trust me, it was very difficult and it's going to challenge you. I'll see you guys on the next one.